A crescent on the New World, a forgotten empire reborn across an ocean it never crossed. It's the late 1400s. Columbus sails west, backed by Spain. But in this version of history, something changes. Maybe the Reconquista failed. Maybe the Ottomans, fresh off their 1453 conquest of Constantinople, look west, not just toward Europe, but across the Atlantic. They see what Spain and Portugal see: opportunity, empire, and they move first. The Ottomans colonize America, not just as raiders or merchants, but as settlers. Naval explorers, backed by the wealth of the sultans, the brilliance of Ottoman cartographers, and the might of the Janissary Corps, reached the Caribbean. They established the first outposts in what we now call Cuba, Florida, or perhaps the Yucatan. And from the moment their ships touch land, everything changes. Forget Spanish missions and Catholic conversions. In this world, mosques rise on the American coast, not churches. The Adhan echoes through new port cities. Arabic becomes the lingua franca of trade. Local populations aren't handed crucifixes. They're handed Qurans, and Islam, not Christianity, spreads through indigenous nations. The Aztecs still rule in Mexico. The Incas still dominate the Andes. But when the Ottomans arrive, they don't just bring weapons, they bring science, architecture, and diplomacy. A different kind of conquest unfolds, less about burning temples, more about building alliances. The Ottoman approach is imperial, yes, but also pragmatic. Where the Spanish crushed, the Ottomans often co-opted, and the Colombian exchange. That still happens, but it runs through Istanbul, not Seville. Tobacco and tomatoes flood Ottoman markets. Horses and gunpowder reshape native warfare, but smallpox still spread. The plagues don't care who carries them. Over time, Ottoman colonies stretch up and down the coasts, from Al-Qahira, New Orleans, to Yeni Bursa, Boston. Slavery still exists, but it's different, shaped by Islamic law and Ottoman practice. Plantation economics look more like those in the Balkans or Anatolia than the American South. The American continent becomes a crossroads, not just between Old World and New, but between East and West. Islamic America evolves on its own terms, distinct from the empire that spawned, a melting pot of Turkic, Arab, Berber, African, and native cultures. New cities rise with domes and arches, not steeples. Coffeehouses become political hubs. Carpets replace pews. By the 1700s, the balance of global power tilts. Europe doesn't dominate the Atlantic, it shares it. The British and French scramble to hold onto Canada and the northern frontier. The Ottomans hold the South, the Gulf, the Caribbean. Conflicts erupt, not just over land, but over culture, trade, and faith. There's still a revolution, but it's not the American Revolution we know. Instead of rebels throwing off British rule, imagine an Islamic colony declaring independence from Istanbul. Enlightenment thinkers quote the Quran alongside Locke and Rousseau. The first constitution in the New World draws not just from Athens, but from Medina, and the flag. No stars and stripes, but maybe a crescent, maybe a calligraphy of liberty. Fast forward to today, the United States of America doesn't exist. In its place, maybe we have the Federated Emirates of America, a nation with roots in Ottoman law, Islamic philosophy, and native resilience. English isn't the dominant language. Turkish, Arabic, and Nahuatl echo in schools and on signs. The world is different. The Middle East isn't just a distant region, it's the cultural ancestor of a superpower. The idea of East versus West never quite develops the same way, and the modern world, the war on terror, perhaps never begins. Islamophobia, muted when Islam helped build the Western Hemisphere. The Cold War, maybe it's not between the US and the USSR, but between a post-Ottoman America and Imperial Britain. And 9/11, maybe never happened, or maybe it does, but the global response is led by an Islamic superstate, not against one. When the Ottomans sail west, they don't just claim land, they claim the future. The New World becomes a reflection of the Old World. Minarets on the Mississippi, crescent flags flying over continents, and a history where the American dream speaks Arabic, prays in mosques, and was born not in Philadelphia, but in the shadow of the Sultan.